Good morning, everybody. I'm Marty Collier. On behalf of the Toronto Coalition for Active Transportation, welcome to our first of what will probably be many press conferences to highlight the city's huge need for more walking and cycling infrastructure in the city. Since human-powered transportation is the most sustainable and healthiest means to get around, it's time that these modes of travel take a larger role in Toronto's transportation planning and engineering mix. It's now 2006, it's not 1956. After amalgamation in 1997, Toronto's motto became diversity, our strength. However, when it comes to transportation, there's very little diversity whatsoever. The city spends millions of dollars on road and transit construction projects while improvements to pedestrian and cycling infrastructure are rarely made. This despite an official plan that stipulates that reducing car dependence is of paramount importance to decrease traffic gridlock, smog, and climate change while improving our quality of life. Over the last couple of decades, many environmental groups, health organizations, businesses, and citizens have been working and volunteering to make the city more livable by improving active transportation choices. The Toronto Coalition for Active Transportation, TCAT for short, was established earlier this year to give these groups and individuals a unified voice. Working together, the nonpartisan TCAT plan for active transportation was developed to ensure that the city finally shifts to a truly balanced transportation system where complete streets and multimodal options are the norm. To date, over 20 organizations have signed on to the TCAT plan. Prominent urban thinkers like Paul Bedford, Toronto Chief Planner until 2004 and architect of the official plan, and Richard Gilbert, a former city and metro councillor from 1976 to 1991, have lent us their very enthusiastic support. You can see what they've said in the background or found in your press kit. Last week at City Hall, Fred Kent from the New York-based Project for Public Spaces endorsed TCAT in front of over 200 city planners, urban designers, and traffic engineers. Providing for active transportation is an old idea, but the time for implementation has finally arrived. One of the founding members of TCAT and three of our big supporters are here today to build the case for active transportation infrastructure in Toronto. I'd like to introduce each of them now and then let them speak without further interruption. After they speak, in about 25 or 30 minutes, we'll open the floor up for your questions. Please see the agenda and speaker bios in your press kit for details. Our first speaker will be Marty Collier, a founding member of TCAT. For the past 5 years, he has been the Toronto Bicycling Network's representative to the Toronto Cycling Committee. The Toronto Bicycling Network is Canada's largest recreational cycling club with over 900 members. While being a recreational club, it also has a civic affairs component, which also includes the BikeToronto.ca cycling news site, to which Martin regularly contributes. Martin is self-employed as a sign language interpreter and has a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Saskatchewan. Following Martin, our second speaker will be Dr. Alan Abelson, a family physician in Toronto and member of the Ontario College of Family Physicians, where he is past chair of their Environmental Health Committee. He co-authored a report, Public Health and Urban Sprawl in Ontario, for the OCFP in 2004. He is also a lecturer in the Department of Family and Community Medicine at the University of Toronto and teaches environmental health at the Centre for Environment, University of Toronto. He is a board member of CAPE, the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, and chair of the Environmental Committee World Conference of Family Doctors. Our third speaker, Gil Peñalosa, is a multicultural executive who has earned an MBA from UCLA and has 22 years of senior managerial experience in the public and private sectors. As you'll hear, he is passionate about walking and cycling as activities and about urban parks, trails, and greenways as great places because of their impact on the quality of life for everyone. In the late 1990s, Gil was Commissioner of Parks, Sports, and Recreation in Bogota, Colombia, a city with population 7 million. Where he led a major redevelopment of its park system, including the design of over 400 parks and the construction of more than 170 parks. He also brought about the closure to cars of 91 kilometers of roads every Sunday to allow over 1.5 million people to walk, run, skate, and bike. And he did that in an incredibly short time. I think it was just 3 or 4 years. Gil moved to Canada in 2000 as Trade Commissioner and now works building the city for the 21st century in Mississauga. In his other work, and why he's here today, he is Executive Director of the not-for-profit Walk and Bike for Life. As an example of his activities in the last 30 days, he has been the keynote speaker at the Pro Walk, Pro Bike International Conference in Madison, Wisconsin. Last week at the American Trail Symposium at Davenport, Iowa. And this coming week, he is off to Poland to speak at the Great Places, Great Cities Conference in Krakow. As with all of our speakers, we're very happy that Gil has taken the time to be with us today. I'm very proud to introduce our fourth and final speaker, Glenn Murray. Glenn joined Navigator Limited as a partner and leader of its authenticity practice in 2005. Authenticity is Canada's first full-service urban management consulting practice specializing in economic development, creative city strategies, and intergovernmental expertise. As a former mayor of Winnipeg, Glenn's vision is anchored in practical and very successful experience on the council floor and with other governments. Glenn's vision for a new deal for cities started with the formation of the C5, a coalition of 5 Canadian cities. It was during that time that he became the first chair of the Big City Mayors Caucus. His New Deal concepts were first tested with the Winnipeg electorate in his successful mayoral campaigns and have gone on to be the roadmap for Canadian cities. Following his terms as mayor and since making Toronto his home, Glenn served the University of Toronto as senior visiting scholar and an urban policy coordinator. He sits as a member of the Task Force on Creativity and the Public Service for the Government of Canada. Glenn is with us today as chair of the National Roundtable on the Environment and the Economy. This is a leading policy advisor to the Government of Canada on a wide array of economical and environmental challenges. We're really glad that you all can be with us here today. So Martin, I'd like you to start us off.